Hi, welcome to the RSBC Unseen podcast. I'm Julia and I work here at RSBC. Today we're going to be talking all things Disability Pride because July in the UK is Disability Pride Month. We've been celebrating it every year since 2015. So I've got some members of the Youth Forum with me today and they're going to be talking about their journeys with their visual impairments and the things that they've done that they're proud of. So do you want to introduce yourself, guys?
Hello, my name is Alicia. I'm 18 years old and I've been born blind.
Hi, my name is Molly. I'm 18 years old and I've been visually impaired for 4.5 years.
Hi, I'm Rona. I'm 24 and I've been blind since birth.
Hello, I'm Zenny. I'm 24 and I've also been vision impaired since birth.
So how did you guys feel about being visually impaired when you were younger? Or I guess since your diagnosis, or for those of you who've been VIS since birth, how did you feel like as you sort of realised what that meant?
When I was first diagnosed with being visually impaired, I was slightly alarmed really by the fact that, I was visually impaired. I was diagnosed with what is scientifically known, like the name is scientifically optical atrophy. I just call it tunnel vision basically. So I can't see things unless they're right in front of me. And as I kind of progressed through my time in the hospital, and then when I was discharged from the hospital, I started to notice my visual impairment a lot more. It did kind of freak me out a little bit, but over time I've kind of developed with it and I've learned to kind of use it really to my own advantage. So yeah, over time I'd say I started to feel a bit better about it.
Great. Was it quite like scary at first? Like were you sort of feeling quite overwhelmed?
Yeah, it was really just weird really, just to kind of just think, oh my gosh, like, because I'd never realized what it was like to be like, visually impaired, like just completely blind or like partially blind. So being able to kind of like find that out for myself has made me just kind of think, well, what would happen if I like compared the eyesight that I've got now to what I did before the whole like situation and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think it could be quite overwhelming, but I do also think it does help you like empathise with other people as well. Do you think that?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Cool. Zenny.
Yeah, so for me, I suppose it's a little different because I've been vision impaired since birth. I've got some form of corneal problems, which affects my vision as well as like glaucoma and nystagmus. But I think when I was really young, it's really weird because I think I went through like different stages. It didn't really matter to me. And I didn't like, I knew I was blind, but I kind of thought it was cool because like I got to use all this fun equipment. At the age of like 4 or 5, that I thought was pretty cool. Like, I was a really small child, so it was kind of they had to like put extensions on the Perkins kind of keys for me to use it, but it was still pretty cool because like I couldn't reach the table. But like
Did you
I
have a
got
tiny little cane?
I don't think I had a cane at that point
Oh, the
actually.
tiny canes are so adorable.
Yeah, they are. I didn't because I think the first cane I got was like that plastic one, the telly cane. But that wasn't until I was about a little bit older. But I think when I was younger, like I had all this cool equipment, but also my vision wasn't as bad.
Mm.
And I was kind of living the life. I was literally the popular kid in school. I was friends with everybody. I even had a little boyfriend as well. Oh my God, he was cute.
Aw.
But like I think it kind of changed a little bit when I moved to school, and then also my vision was getting kind of worse. And then with that, obviously, I was a little bit older, and so were the kids and people around me. So when people were noticing it and kind of behaving like in terms of it, if that makes any sense, like they were like based on it, they were behaving based on it, and like I think it was their behavior that kind of made me notice it a little bit more.
So it was almost like
Mm.
when they started to understand what that meant, it kind of
Yeah,
changed how you understood it.
yeah, because
Mm.
when I was younger, I didn't like, obviously I kind of felt like I fit in and everything, and then when I moved to school and I was obviously older at the same time and it was getting worse, like I think with those three things simultaneously happening. And like, then I was being introduced to kind of the cane and things like that. And I was quite embarrassed, I'm ashamed to say, to kind of use it. Like I never wanted to use it. And like everyone would try to get me to use it and I just would not. So
I think that's quite a common feeling. We're going to have some future episodes looking at using white cane, so everyone watch this space. Fab, thanks then. So Rona, how about you?
Okay then, so I've been blind since birth. My condition is called septal dysplasia. I was only diagnosed a year after I was born because professionals didn't believe that I couldn't see at all. My dad tells me that for months professionals were telling him that my eyes just needed the time to develop because I was born prematurely. When I was younger, I always remember my parents and the rest of my family just saying that I can't see, and I learnt to realise that I couldn't see anything at all. There's nothing actually wrong with my eyes. It's the pituitary gland in my brain that has caused my blindness, as it does not work. It's like a bridge with the water in the brain, but my bridge has been sunk, which means that my eyes cannot carry messages to my brain to enable me to see properly. But my eyes work fine, as I can feel sensations when their light's on and when the sun is shining in my face. Whenever my parents or family said that I can't see, I understood that my life would be more difficult than the lives of my fully sighted peers and my brother, and I would need to work harder than them to achieve success. Also, I understood that I would always need support at school. I was never bullied at school, so I feel I was lucky, but I was always with a TA and a small group of friends who were really supportive. I never really went anywhere at school on my own. You know, I did this all throughout my school until I was at RNC when I was starting to develop confidence with my mobility. I understood that I had to learn Braille so that I could learn to read and write like everybody else. But I actually enjoyed learning Braille. That was actually my favourite thing to do. So I did not find this hard to accept. I have physical disabilities as well, and I had operations to try and resolve these, like hip dysplasia and hypermobility. And I did really struggle with that because I couldn't walk properly. You know, when I did sort of get the strength to walk after having the last operation, I was introduced to the white cane. And I didn't like sweeping it at first because I was worried about hitting other students, but they taught me to be really careful. And if I wasn't sure about my environment, I'd just be guided instead, so that I could avoid any incidents and not get into trouble. But for a long time, I did have to use another walking aid, like a hoopy, which was like a plastic hula hoop with a rubber handle on the end, or a walking frame, or even a wheelchair. So yeah, I've had a lot of stuff to accept, and some stuff has been harder than others, but I feel like I've always just accepted my blindness. It's more the other disabilities I have that I've had to learn to accept.
So when you were younger and you started to realise that you would need more support with things and that you were going to have to work harder than your sighted peers, how did that make you feel?
Well, I did feel the pressure, to be honest, because, you know, what happens if I don't succeed? What happens if I fail? Because I had to, you know, I felt like I had to prove people right, because everybody was saying that I couldn't do this, couldn't do that, that I couldn't, you know, I wouldn't succeed like the other people in my class. Initially, I was told that I might have to go to a special school at the age of 4, and we weren't happy with that.
So did it make you feel like more determined to overcome it?
Yeah, but I did feel the pressure of having to kind of prove people. That was quite a hard thing.
Yeah, thanks, Ro. Alicia, what about you?
So like the others, I have been born blind, and for me, accepting it, I don't really remember when I was first told. Apparently I was told at the age of 4 because I got diagnosed when I was a baby. But I remember just feeling very frustrated about it all. Like, I felt frustrated that I had to walk with a cane. I felt frustrated that I couldn't participate in certain games. I felt frustrated that I had support. And yeah, I was feeling very frustrated and upset with things. I think there were some positives that I liked about being blind, like Zenny said about using cool equipment. I think one of my favorite things was being able to use tactile art supplies. So while the others were using pens and pencils, I was being able to use all kinds of different art supplies like tinsel and pipe cleaners and stickers. And I found that so cool. And actually one time one kid was like, oh, can we use them like, you know, like me? and they got told no because those were like my resources. So that was actually something I really liked. But I think during primary school as well, I was like Rona said, I was a lot of the time with a TA, especially over lunchtime, and I used to get very frustrated. I remember I had a bit of an incident because I used to go in earlier for lunch, and I didn't want to go in earlier this time because I was having some fun with my friends. And now I didn't handle it in the best way. Like crying about it isn't the best way. And I was told when I got, asked to explain my situation that my feelings were right, but the way I kind of dealt with them weren't exactly. But yeah.
That's fab. So how do you feel about your visual impairment now?
So now I have left education and I'm looking for work. So I consider my VI now as a vital part of me as it has shaped who I am. I am a kind and caring individual who always thinks of others first before myself, and I use my own VI to make a difference in the lives of others who are also VI. I accept my physical disabilities as just a part of me now as well. I would say that my VA is a gift because I am an inspiration or pathfinder to others, and it enables me to think outside the box. I can use my VI as an advantage to help me speak up for myself in terms of ensuring my rights are followed as a blind person and that I receive all the care and support I need, including reasonable adjustments in the workplace.
Thanks. Zenny.
So for me now, I think because I've never really had a big issue with my vision impairment. I mean, I've struggled with other people's perceptions, but I've never really had like a big issue. Like there have been times where I've been like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. Like, how am I going to do this? But I think as I was getting older and older, I've tried to be more pragmatic and kind of been like, I can't really change the fact that I'm vision impaired. There's no cure, there's no treatment. And I just remember this one time, like, because when I was younger, I never understood it properly, but I went to the hospital once and it was for like a regular checkup. And I was at an age where I was curious and I wanted to know, so like, what do I have exactly? Because I still never understood it. And I was like, what does this mean? And it was a day that my consultant told me, this is what you have. It's very inevitable that there's no kind of chance of it really changing or being cured or anything. And I really struggled that day. And that was the day where I'd kind of burst into tears and I was really inconsolable. But I think that was a changing point. Like I'd struggled before that a little bit, but that day when I had finally understood it and let it all out, I think since then things kind of got better.
It's like it brings it all home and it's like it's quite a lot, but then hearing it means that I guess you can process it and start to accept it.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was when I was about probably 14 or 15. So then since then things got a lot better. And then I think because I've been able to prove to myself that I can do the things that I thought I wouldn't be able to do, it's made it a lot easier. So now I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like this is how it is.
I'm capable. I can do everything.
Exactly. But yeah, that's kind of where I am now.
Nice. Alicia.
So for me, I now feel a lot more positive about my disability. So I'm currently in a couple weeks leaving a specialist college for the vision impaired, the RNC, and I think that helped me so massively. And I hope that this change will remain in the future. I definitely still have down days, especially when I'm dealing with stuff outside of the college, but I'm hoping that just knowing more vision impaired people and being part of more groups like this one will really help with that. And it's interesting as well, because I do remember having a moment a bit like Zenny did way back when I was in year 10. And I just really spent several hours pretty much crying and just being very upset. This was during secondary school, and I just really struggled with friendships and a lot of, different bits going on. And I think after that, it's been like, I guess, a bit of a up and down, but mostly I don't think I've been as bad as that for a while. But yeah, that's me.
I think there's something about that age because 14, 15, those were my realization years and they were difficult. So I think there's something about that age, that mid-teen point where you get old enough and you go, oh, I think I understand what this means, and it's going to be a bit tough. I've got to like process this. So I think it's interesting that it's such a similar age for everybody.
I think it's hormones as well. Like it's hormones, but it's also just dealing with stuff to do with friendships in school, because that can be very difficult. I've now learned that it's actually very difficult for many different types of people.
Fab. So Molly, how do you feel about your visual impairment now?
I have a lot of mixed emotions around it. There's been a lot of highs and lows involving it. Along with my visual impairment, I've also had a limitation with my right arm and my right leg. I've been learning for the past like 4 years to be able to walk on, and I'm walking on pretty well with my leg, and I'm getting used to having my hand like this and stuff like that. But with that and my visual impairment, it's very frustrating kind of being able to do stuff really. Like, for example, I am part of a course in college where you could basically choose like what different courses you want to have a look at and stuff like that. And me and my form had a go at doing catering, and obviously there's typical things that you have to do like stirring stuff, but it's very frustrating for me because I'd either have to use my whole bad hand to be able to hold the bowl while I stir it, and then also I have to use as much of my visual impairment as I can to make sure that I haven't spilled anything anywhere, or even doing things as like pouring liquids into a glass that are a challenge for me because I can't always see if it's actually going into the glass because it might be pouring onto the side, and I'm only just realizing when half of it is all over the counter, and I'm just it can be a bit frustrating. And being able to do other things, like even something as simple as being able to play catch. I can't really catch stuff. I mean, I couldn't catch very well anyway beforehand, but I can't really.
Me neither.
Half the time, I can't even see if the ball is coming to me. So I might end up just flying past me, or it might hit me in the face or something like that. Or even just doing other things like I quite like playing video games sometimes, and most video games, or some of them really, tend to do a thing where your character, your sprite, whatever you want to call it, tends to walk to the right. And obviously, because of my visual impairment, I can't see what comes ahead. So it's basically me having to get used to these different levels and stuff and just kind of predict what happens and stuff like that, which is very frustrating, but obviously I've learned to adapt with that. Yeah, no, my vision, it's very frustrating. There's sometimes where I just feel like I want to just get really angry with myself, or I just feel like I want to cry or something like that. I'll just lay it all out and stuff like that. And sometimes that is the best way for me to be able to do it and stuff. I think it's quite healthy being able to let stuff out, really.
Thanks, Molly. So, next question. What's something that you've done as a VI person that people might be surprised about?
So what I've done that's surprising. I mean, I think I've done a few things, not to sound boastful.
Boast away, my friend.
I've done a few things that I suppose I've surprised myself, so hopefully they surprise other people. Like I never ever thought that I'd be able to go solo traveling like on a plane and just like fly to other countries and things. I've been able to do that, and I think that's and I know that's kind of like a random thing.
No, it's really important. If there's a thing you want to do and you've done it, like that's amazing.
Yeah, and I just think that like it's just being able to like, and not even just planes, I suppose. It's like traveling in general. Like I'm kind of fortunate that I live in an area where transport links are pretty good. Just being able to kind of just decide that, okay, this is what I'm going to do today, or this is what I'm going to plan to do over the next couple months. Like compared to a lot of other things, it's kind of one of the more basic things. But I think that's probably
It's important though for
Yeah.
independence, right? Having
Yeah,
independence is
exactly.
something to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rona.
So one thing I have done as a blind person that many people are surprised at is that I achieved a grade 5 in my GCSE maths when I retook it at my local college in 2021. So I failed my maths when I took original GCSEs in secondary school in 2017, as I only achieved a grade 2 or an F if we've got people listening that use the old system, but I passed with a grade 5 or a B when I retook it in 2021, and exams were being assessed by teachers as part of the aftermath of the effects of COVID. A lot of sighted people think that blind people can't do maths because it is very visual, and at one point I almost felt the same. At one point I wanted to scream and say, I can't do maths, I'm blind. This doesn't make any sense to me. I really did struggle with confidence in my maths, but I had a teacher at college that was really good, and she really supported me during COVID. She used to do one-to-ones with me where we did practice papers every single week. The fact that I passed it the second time around shows my determination. And everyone is surprised when I tell them what I got in my GCSE maths. I did really well in my GCSEs as a whole, which always surprises people who don't know me because they think people can't sit exams due to the stress levels being too much for them. But another thing which mainly surprises my dad is that quite recently I have been doing quite a lot of public speaking to high profile individuals and organizations, especially around the forum. I enjoy doing this, but my dad says I blow him away every day when I tell him what I've been doing in the forum, such as writing to my local MPs and speaking in big meetings. I don't think I wouldn't be part of the forum if I wasn't VI. I think he's really proud of how far I've come in the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, I think we often end up doing things that we wouldn't expect because of our visual impairments, I think. And I do think that's a real positive to take away from it. Molly, what's something you've done that would surprise people?
So when I am asked this question, there is two things that come to mind. Number one, which I guess is something that I kind of developed before I became visually impaired, and then as time's kind of progressed on, it's just somehow carried with me. But I can make various different origami creations, such as an origami love heart, a paper crane, a dinosaur, all sorts really, which I'm really amazed about that I can still really do it.
I love that.
It's quite astounding really how I managed to do it really, but
Will you make me a dinosaur next time I see you?
oh yeah, no, definitely. And the other thing, which I guess is probably just something that I guess involved courage for me. I'm currently in my second year of being at college, and I decided for my second year to volunteer as an ambassador, and I have done so many different things with this whole volunteering thing. I have helped with open evenings at the college or going to other colleges and stuff, helping out, doing challenges and stuff like the ice bucket challenge that we did recently. Loads of different things that has basically helped me with my confidence and also with making friends. I've made a lot of friends who also want to help with like volunteering and just trying to make college like so much better, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, I'd say those two are probably my two like important things really that I'd say that I can do that I'm still astounded to this day that, I managed to have been able to do it. They are very different though.
I love that though. Absolutely love it. Alicia, what about you?
So one thing that I guess would surprise some people is last year I did a year of judo. I just decided to do it for fun, to try it out, and I'm not going to continue it professionally. But it was really good fun, and it was something I was a little surprised that I enjoyed so much. And I think that might be one thing that surprises people because they kind of expect people with a vision impairment to not be able to do sports or handle themselves. So that's something that I've done.
I'm actually, you know what? I think it's an interesting point because you're right, but I've actually tried a bigger variety of sports and activities since I lost all my eyesight than when I could see a bit more. I just think it pushes you to try different things for some reason. I don't really know why, but for sure, like I've definitely tried some different things that I would not have done if I had the vision levels that I had when I was younger. Why do you think it's important for us to have our own Pride Month as disabled people?
I think because our disabilities affect us in so many ways, and sometimes we can be excluded from things. I think, like any minority group, it's important to have a month where we celebrate what's positive about our disabilities, especially as sometimes it can be difficult to.
So, actually, I think one of the things that is important about having a Pride Month is because we get to do stuff like this and raise awareness of the stuff that we can do. And I think that's really helpful for ourselves personally, but also for other vision impaired people across the community who maybe aren't as confident or who are maybe new to like having a diagnosis or etc. I think it's probably a time that can really help them if they see online or around, like, wherever, that there's loads of other VI people being able to do this. So it hopefully gives them hope, if that makes
and
any sense.
Totally. And I think it helps like decrease isolation. It might help people wherever they are in their sort of journeys of acceptance, right?
Absolutely.
I definitely think that the most important thing really about this is partially going off of what Zenny and Alicia were saying about to raise awareness is definitely a big thing for those that are visually impaired and those that aren't. Some that might be, learning about what it means to be visually impaired, or just anyone who is willing to, find out what it all means and where to start on it all.
So I feel that Disability Pride Month is important because it gives us, the VI people, and relevant organisations such as RSBC, the annual opportunity to raise awareness of different disabilities through the multicoloured Disability Pride flag, specifically for visual impairments. I feel that Disability Pride Month is important because VI can mean a lot of things for a lot of people in terms of the degree of useful vision an individual has got. And I feel it gives us the chance to raise awareness of different types of visual impairments, as well as different medical conditions which can cause sight loss. We can also raise awareness of the everyday barriers we face and show fully sighted people what life is really like with a visual impairment. Hopefully, this creates a wider societal cultural shift towards inclusivity in the future.
Brilliant, thank you. From all of us here at RSBC, we want to wish you all a very happy Pride Month.
Yeah, happy Disability Pride Month.